time to go home. The long way. Well, I still have a chore, which is to put my feet in the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, yeah, I could bump my head in here. I don't know where I'm staying tonight. I'm headed west. What? What do you want? Deer food? I didn't bring any deer food. I really have not run into deer, wild deer, that are this tame. And so with that, I think I'm going to sign off for this episode. This is day 15 coming to an end. I'm on the eastern side of Pennsylvania, just a little east of Scranton. Day 14? Day 15. August 4th. That much I know. Really a weird kind of feeling. I arrived in this campground last night, and it's fully loaded with campers, and they had the little envelope thing where you put your money in and all that. And aside from a woman and her little child who came to play in the playground back there, I have not seen a human being. And it's almost like I'm in a campground after the apocalypse or something. It's just really a weird feeling. But I've had the deer and the raccoons to keep me company. The raccoons left my my bags on my bike alone. I see your beady little eyes. I see ya. Eating out of the trash cans. See his eyes? There's two of them. Oh, and I'm off. But I did seal everything up. You know, locked it up, zipped it up, velcroed it up, whatever I could do. So I was happy about that. I just didn't know if their little noses were going to tell them that there were some oatmeal bags inside those zip-up saddle bags, and whether they just chew right through them or somehow pull the bike over in their efforts. They did not. And somebody put the picnic table on a really awkward angle, probably just to get room to get their RV up in here and out. And rather than drag the whole thing around, I just found a flat spot on this rock to make my coffee. Ooh, almost ready. So, yet another unplanned, but found a place to sleep anyways, campsite. And, you know, if this hadn't worked out last night, then I was probably going to shift gears to trying to find a cheap motel. Let's talk about costs on this trip a little bit. Gasoline, back in California, it was a little over $4 a gallon for 87 octane, which is kind of the I'm not going to say the lowest tier in America, because I did run into 85 later in the Midwest, but it's usually the lowest octane rating at most gas pumps on the west and east coast. So yeah, 4 to 425 in California. As soon as you leave California, it drops to 375, something like that. Then in the Midwest, I paid as low as $2.99 a gallon for 87 octane. And now that I'm on the East Coast, I'm back up to about $3.25. So, every bike gets different mileage, so figure out for your bike, I guess, what your costs are going to be. I haven't calculated the mileage that I've done so far before I started this video, so I'll do that later. I think there'll be, at the end of this whole thing, maybe there would be a wrap-up video on what did it cost to do this trip. And then camping, lodging. Some of the lodging I did because a friend wanted me to be in a certain place. It was convenient for them, and I spent a little more. I've had motel rooms, as cheap as $60. Of course, in Vegas, I got the one for $29, but that's Vegas. It's a unique situation where they're expecting you to drop a lot of coin on the slots. And then that might be something worth looking into, though, is that there's a lot of casinos all over the country, and they all have a desire to give you lodging with the assumption that you're going to spend in the casino. But if you're diligent and don't, maybe casino living all the way across the country might be a cheap way to go and raise your standard of living in the process, because the rooms are usually pretty nice, but they're usually smoked in casinos. Depends on the state and the culture and the community. Campsites. For national parks, I have the annual pass. It's called America the Beautiful Pass. If you're over, I think, I'm not going to throw out ages, but they have a senior discount pass. They have a lifetime senior pass. They have discounts for veterans, people with disabilities. So look into those passes, because each time you enter a park, it's $25-30, something like that, for your vehicle just to go in there. But if you have the annual pass, they waive it, and I think the annual pass was $65 or $80, something like that, somewhere in there. Well, I've gotten into quite a few spots with that. And then national forests. If you go into a national forest and camp for free and you got that annual pass, no problem. So I've done that once on this trip. Reservations I made with national parks were $25 for the campsite, but then another $10 fee for the online, for recreation.gov, the website essentially, which is $35. And then this campsite I just pulled into, a tent site, is $36. It has water and electricity on it because they're all RV spots. I just put a tent on it. So I actually plugged in my camera, get my camera charged up for the day. That's about it. Do I think you could do it cheaper? I do. This trip could be done. Let's say you had a V-Strom, but you didn't have the 1,000, you had the 650. Well, you're getting even better gas mileage then. I think up, over 40. I don't know that you're going to be as comfortable. I'm speaking not from experience here, because I have not ridden a 650. I know they have 3/4 the amount of horsepower that the 1,000 has, and there's times when I'm passing on the interstate where I'm using probably more than a 650 will put out, but you don't have to pass. My guess is a 650 can maintain 75 miles an hour with all the gear on just fine. So that's one way to cut costs, is don't ride 1,000, ride a 650. But if you really like to have the power, you know, 1,000's got a little more. And then if you did some research into all the national forest lands, the Bureau of Land Management lands, you in theory could primitive tent like the whole way. And truck stops have showers for like 75 cents or $1. You literally put coins in them, and you know, you get a shower for 10 minutes or something. That's an option. Can be done that way. And food's probably the most expensive part of the whole trip. I've been doing a lot of oatmeal breakfasts and instant coffee, and it saves money. But you know, I also stopped and had like the best steak I've had in a long time in Marquette. You know, it was a $50 steak, so it's just me. Costs, that's about it. What's the goal today? Get across Pennsylvania and into Ohio maybe a little bit, or at least to the west side of Pennsylvania. It's a little bit lighter day, except that I do have a chore in there. My kids are of an age, they're going into their junior year in high school, and they're starting to think about colleges and where they want to apply. So they've got me on little missions to tour some of these campuses, and I FaceTime with them and show them the campus so they get a feel for it without having to fly here and check it out themselves. We've done some of that too. So Pittsburgh has a really nice private college called Carnegie Mellon. I'm going to check it out. They might be interested. We'll see. I'm blessed with smart kids that actually have a shot at these schools, which is nice. Almost packed up here and out of here. I got to take the tent down yet, but everything's out of it. One thing that I could do today or tomorrow, but anytime, would be another oil change. I'm at about 2,600 miles on this oil. Granted, they're pretty much all 55 mile an hour plus, so pretty easy miles. But you know, somewhere in here I'll do it, and then it might be better if I do it tomorrow and stretch it a little bit. You can, I mean, the recommendation is 3,200 miles on this bike, so I'm not there yet, but I tend to change a little bit more frequently. I'm a cheap oil changed frequently kind of guy, and it's been working for me. You know, the wear on the cam lobes and things like that is just nothing, and compression's still good. And I don't know, watch my video on my 71,000 mile review of this bike. Before I go, I do compression check and look at the cams and the lobes and the valve clearances and things like that. That's not all oil. Certainly some of that is the way I ride also. You know, what kind of challenges I put to the engine. But I ride spirited, but I do it in a way to where I'm not abusing the engine. Let's put it that way. One more thought on costs. Perhaps you want to do this yourself, and God, I highly recommend it. But don't have all the gear already. My buddy Angela Lansbury brought up a good point that Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace is a great place for things like tents and sleeping bags and whatever. They can be washed, they're so often purchased with high aspirations, and then people don't camp and they sell them off at just major discounts. Or you get, you know, older couples that the kids and the grandkids are coming to visit, and we just needed some extra sleeping space, so we bought this tent for the kids, and they used it once, and now they're not coming back anymore and don't need the tent. that kind of thing. You can buy this stuff just super cheap on Craigslist and just buy it used. You know, we don't have to buy everything new. And interestingly, everything I just said about a tent would apply to motorcycles too, frankly. A lot of those get bought with high aspirations and then are on the marketplace at a steep discount with very few miles on them. I'm riding one like that. The original owner only put 2,300 miles on this thing, and I mean, sorry to say, he took over 50% bath over what he paid, so my benefit.
So after many days on the road, I mean weeks really, I have to say there's a clarity of thought, you know, where like my thoughts have just settled down. I imagine many of you are like me, where your brain is pretty active all the time and there's an internal dialogue going, and that can sometimes be helpful and sometimes be a real not so helpful. You know, there is a meditation to this. There is a necessity of having to be in the present and do it for long periods of time. And while you think that would be exhausting, it's very calming to the mind. Something about the gentle rolling around here on the surface of this little blue dot that just, well, as Neil Peart put it in Ghost Rider, you know, it's rocking your little baby soul. You know, our souls don't have an age, and mine tends to like just rocking around and moving. It doesn't like sitting still. Muddy Waters would have called it being a rolling stone. And I don't think he coined the phrase. But I think this kind of activity, being mobile, traveling across the surface of the planet. I don't know what could be more human. It's as human as hunting and sex, reproduction, procreation, and creating art. You know, just human thing to do. The other thing I'll say about some people might be watching this and you're not motorcyclists, but it's interesting nonetheless. Maybe you're just into travel. Thank you for watching. But you might see me doing some riding that just scares you, makes you feel uneasy. I'll say there's nothing that I've done anywhere in this whole series or on this trip that has ever made me nervous in the least. You know, and that's a lifetime of building up skills, not only for just becoming one with this machine, or this machine becoming an extension of my own body through these little levers and controls and manipulators, but it's also, you know, a lifetime of being in traffic and kind of understanding the psychology of drivers. And I can sense when they're stressed out and when they're about to make a radical move or not. In a sense, what I do is a kind of profiling, which that's not supposed to be good, but it keeps me alive out here. You know, if you see a really beat up car with a lot of dents in it, or, you know, body panels hanging off or windows missing or whatever, you know, this might just be a more haphazard individual. So your risk level goes up around somebody like that, and you're on more high alert. It doesn't mean somebody in a brand new car can't do something weird, but it's just numbers, it's just stats, and it's just decades of doing this that have taught me that. You know, similarly, if I see somebody driving a Mitsubishi, I know they've got questionable judgment, and oh, there you go. Now all the Mitsubishi drivers are mad at me. Oh, I'm picking out a thermos for you. Not an ordinary thermos will do, but the very best thermos you can buy, with a handle and stripes and a cup built right in. Oh, I'm picking out a thermos for you, and maybe a barometer too. So there's a good example of the clarity of thought that comes from this kind of activity.
Just at a gas stop here, and I was thinking about a statement I made earlier in this this episode. Gas was $3.19, $3.20 essentially. For those that are keeping score at home, Pennsylvania, $3.19, 87 octane. I made a comment about meals and the cost of meals. The one thing I didn't mention is you have to consider, what are you going to pay on meals just staying home anyways? So figure your delta on that, because whether you're traveling or not, you're eating.
just want a little, but don't need a lot. I'm satisfied with all I got. Don't want deluxe or the latest trend, but the woman was too high end. I keep it simple, uncomplicated, not complex. I don't need frills or special effects. She was tangled and too involved. I had a problem I had to solve. I keep it simple. I keep it simple is what I do. I keep it simple and keep it true. I take it easy and keep it light. I keep it simple and everything's alright. Simple. I keep it simple, simple. Take my time, I take it slow. I'm in no hurry, let the wind blow. But she was trouble, that was before. Now more is less and less is more. I keep it simple, I keep it simple, keep it true. I keep it simple, it's what I do. I take it easy, keep it light, I keep it simple, and everything's alright. Simple, I keep it simple, 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 I keep it simple, simple.
Okay, after visiting Carnegie Mellon University, sorry, Carnegie Mellon College. No, it is a university. They do have graduate degrees. For my daughter, I got a cool ride out of Pittsburgh and got to see Pittsburgh, which wasn't in the plan. So there's a lot of stuff that wasn't in the plan on this trip, and it's turned out to be really fun. I enjoyed that, going through this old town, but I got some business to take care of, and so it's time to get some clean laundry. I am doing this because I plan to camp tonight. I don't know for sure that I'm camping tonight, but it's the plan, and I've got the time and I need to. This is the last clean shirt, last clean underwear, last clean socks. Dun, dun, dun. Gotta wash my hands now. Which one of these is least stinky? I don't think I have much of a choice. Hate the fragrance. And I love how it really kicks it out where you can get at it. Like, how do you do this? There we go. Somebody call the health department. Okay, I may not use that whole box and save a little for a hotel room later on. Sounds like progress. And just saving a little for later. You never know. I put 3/4 of it in the load, so it should be fine. Try doing this with a camera in one hand. It's definitely a two-hand deal. These things are hokey, but you know what? They're still with me after a couple of weeks on the road. They are starting to tear though in the straps. I'll have to come up with something else for the next trip. So I guess I got time to reflect on the day a little bit. Had success finding a decent campsite where I was by myself and it was peaceful. I certainly didn't have to worry about people making noise, just raccoons. And then I really didn't have Pittsburgh in my plans at all, but I called home to check in with my family, and my daughters are thinking about college, as I've mentioned in previous episodes, and one of them said I'd like to just see Carnegie Mellon's campus and what it looks like, so I said I'll buzz over there, and I did, and we FaceTimed, and I walked around the campus so she could see it on her laptop from my phone, and I was impressed. It started as the Carnegie Institute of Technology. Carnegie started it in 1900, you know, big industrialist, but the cool thing he did is he set it out to be like an engineering school and a school of industry and a technology. Of course, you know, tech means something else today than it did in 1900, but that was his intent. But he also recognized the importance of the arts, and he set up a top-notch arts program. One of its more famous graduates is Andy Warhol. So, you know, they got some pedigree there in the arts, and I've never seen much of a separation between the arts and science. Go look at my Cafe Racer build. I talk about the art of it, but the mechanics and science of it in the same breath all the time, because that's the way the universe is. And I mean, the statistics show that kids that study the arts do better in science and math, and vice versa. So it's why I got my kids in an art school, and guess who's taking pre-calculus and AP math and AP this and AP that, and they're doing fantastic. So really proud of my kids. Miss them. What else? Oh, and then the tunnel. Oh my God, riding through a mountain. How cool is that? Pittsburgh really impressed me. Just like old town, but pretty nice for what I saw. I mean, every big city's got its kind of rough spots. They all do. But for the most part, I think Pittsburgh just looked nice to me. And the people I ran into were friendly, and it's pretty cool. So I don't know much about it. I wasn't there very long, but there you go. And you guys got to see a little bit of riding through Pittsburgh, which is a thrill. I just wish you could lane split. Sometimes I felt like other drivers were getting a little freaked out by what I was doing, and maybe that was just, you know, they're not used to the California way of riding a motorcycle or something, but I am. And so while I'm sitting here waiting for my laundry, I am going to, there's a gas station across the street so I can top off my tank, but two, I need to research where maybe I could camp for the night tonight, or find some cheap motel along the way if I have to. This is right next to the laundromat, and it makes me sad because I was into model trains as a kid. I had a ping pong table in the basement that I had turned into a little world with 2 trestles with the train going up and down, and there were hobby shops like this in every town in America, and kids could go buy trains, and I had some pretty cool ones. I just have a lot of fond memories of going into places like this, dreaming of a train and then owning it. I should have put that in my book. I didn't talk about the trains much, but that was a big part of my life for a while. Okay. Oh, all on one side. I'm surprised that didn't go out of balance. I'll tell you one thing, the spin cycle can get it, get more water out of it than me wringing them in a bathtub in a motel. But you can be done, as I did show earlier. You look like my man. You go in there. You go in there. Hey. It's not a lot, so I can't imagine. Did that do anything? No. There we go. Let's try that for a bit and see. My guess is 6 minutes ain't gonna cut it. But the other thing we can do, of course, is mount it on the bike underneath my bungees and dry it the rest of the way, because I want to get going too. Then again, I guess I shouldn't be in too much of a hurry. This is not supposed to last very long. It's just a weird weather pattern. I keep looking at the sky and it's blue and there's sun poking through, but this is what's falling out of the sky. So, let's let the dryer do its thing, I guess. The problem is where I want to go, it's not raining right now. Only here. Oh, boy. Yeah. I'm just glad I'm in here. You gotta look at the upside. It was my idol, Neil Peart, who said in one of his books, adventures suck when you're having them. I don't think he meant sitting inside a laundromat dry while it's raining outside, but hey, I did get rained on this trip really well in Lake Placid. Okay, donned the rain gear for, the 4th time, I think now? I've put it on and off so many times. Again, just glad to have it. So, raining at the laundromat, really heavy. Waited that out a bit. Looked at the weather, and the chance of rain just continues in this area for quite a while. I thought, well, am I just going to sit here at the laundromat all night? My laundry was dry. I was done. So I just put the rain gear on, but first got on my phone and gave up on camping for tonight and made a room reservation. And so it was about 20 minutes away from that laundromat, and they upgraded me, which is nice. Kind of like that. Got kind of the suite thing going. It's like a mini suite. It's like a suite without really being a suite. I don't know. What is a suite? I have a bed. That's important. It's not raining inside here. I don't think the rain is gonna seep in through the sides of the walls like they might in my tent and get my feet all wet tonight. So that's it. I'm spending the day with family tomorrow in Ohio, and I just wanted to be rested for that so that I'm not kind of a downer when I'm with them if I'm just tired and been wet all night. And it was a coin flip whether or not there was going to be significant rain again overnight when I was looking at the weather report. So I'm in a room. It's nice. This place is so nice. I don't even need to check for bed bugs because I know this brand. I'm not going to plug them or anything unless they want to contact me, and let's get something worked out, huh? Okay. So for you guys that are watching this who are not Americans and curious, you know, the room upgrade was because I have a status with this chain of hotels, and that status comes from an affiliation with the right credit card and blah blah blah, and past business stuff I've done, and stayed in a lot of hotels in my life. And you know, with this gold status that I have, so to speak, I get 2 waters and peanuts and cookies I can't eat. So, you know, this is kind of like, Americans are so obsessed with having purpose and status, and this really, I don't know how it is in Europe. I'm just guessing like you guys don't fall for this as much as we do, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys are all worked up about status too. I really could care less, but it is nice to get some cold water when I check in, and the room upgrade, sure, I'll take it, but I'm not kidded into believing that I didn't actually pay for what this is worth. I probably did. So that's it for this episode, you guys. I'm settled in. I got another shower. Showers are starting to feel really good. And I have to lather my hair like 3 times before it ever lathers because it's so greasy from being in the helmet.